Okay, today we're going to take a look at some digital accessibility tips for teachers. Accessibility important? Well, to start with, it's the law. The Americans with Disabilities Act and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act both give guidelines on how to make this content accessible. If you don't follow these guidelines, you, or more likely, your institution could potentially be sued because certain students couldn't access the information. Secondly, it's the ethical thing to do. We as teachers must strive to teach each student, regardless of their unique circumstances. We want to make sure that no student is discriminated against because of their disability. Designing content that is accessible certainly takes more time than content that is not accessible. However, it is much easier to design proactively and accessibly than to retroactively try to fix some inaccessible content. As we design, then, we want to think about making it so that everyone can learn from the content. Text formatting. Text is usually the most dominant aspect of any lesson. When the text is not accessible, the learner can feel frustrated and the learning can be compromised. Headings and styles provide visual clues to navigate the text. However, the problem is we can't simply create a heading by making the words bold or in italics. They don't let the screen readers know that some text is larger than others. The simplest way to create headings and subheadings is to apply style to text. Use things like styles in Google Docs and follow the heading hierarchy: title, subtitle, heading 1, heading 2, and so on. Fonts are important too. Make sure you choose fonts that are easy to read. Stick with simple fonts that are available on all sites. PDFs. Students using screen readers must also be able to navigate through PDFs. PDFs must have searchable text in order to work with a screen reader. However, PDFs that are only copied images of something, like a magazine article, are not readable. How do you know if it's searchable? Simply open up the PDF and use the find function to search a word. That will confirm that it's searchable. Color. Make sure you're using high contrast colors that allow words to be easily understood. A visually impaired person might not be able to distinguish between the words on the top and the low contrast words on the bottom. Hyperlinks. Hyperlinks should be designed in a way that is accessible to all. To do so, make sure that the hyperlinks text always describes the contents of the page. Images. Students who are unable to see the screen have no way of knowing what an image is showing. Try using a tag or an alternate text next to it. Alt tags are descriptive pieces of text that are not visible on the screen but are used by a screen reader. Various platforms have different methods for displaying this text, but in Google Docs and Slides, just right-click on the image and select Alt Text from the context menu. For longer image descriptions, such as charts or infographics, you should provide a link to an alternate description of the text in a document. Keyboard accessibility. If a student struggles with fine motor movement, using a mouse or trackpad to navigate can be difficult. For websites or a piece of digital content to be accessible, a person must be able to successfully navigate the page using a keyboard. To test a website's keyboard navigation, try pressing the Tab key to navigate from button to button on a website, pressing the Shift and Tab button to go back to a previous button or link, pressing the spacebar or enter the Enter key while a link is selected to activate that link or button. Video captions. All pre-recorded videos must have accurate subtitles or a transcript available. These can be manually added or auto-generated. Captioning your presentation might be the most time-consuming aspect of creating accessible content before delivering it to your students. Keep all of these aspects in mind when creating digital content for your students. It will help you be on the right side of the law, but more importantly, you will know that all of your students will be able to access the information.